good morning, CMU. And welcome back to our Safe Together, Strong Together weekly updates. Here with me, Dr. Amy Bronson. My name is John Marshall, and I get to co-chair this effort. Grateful that you are joining us today. As always, we remove our masks for this, per the governor's order. But when we're not sitting here, we wear our masks indoors here at CMU. At the outset today, I want to acknowledge and recognize maybe the big news that we all received last night that President Foster's announced his retirement. It's been a bittersweet morning for a lot of us on campus, I think. If you haven't had a chance to see his letter to the campus, I'd encourage you to read that. It was nice to hear in his own words the journey he's been on. 17 years at CMU now, and he has really just left a legacy and created something very special here that I guess we all get to reflect on and appreciate. There was a nice piece in this morning's Daily Sentinel as well, so I'd encourage you to go read that. It was just, they did a nice job, I thought, of capturing his work and the legacy. So I think my understanding is the Board of Trustees will tell us when they decide what's coming next, so we'll all wait and learn next steps. But for now and for today, I think we'll just take a minute and reflect on maybe some, all of us, I guess, have had a different experience, but for me personally anyway, a lot of gratitude for the president and what he's done here at CMU. So sweet, happy for him, happy for Lisa, but we're sure gonna miss him.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be different around here. Today, we're gonna dive into what's happening here on campus. We are, my goodness, how exciting is it to have all our students back, right?
Yes.
So good.
The energy is here.
That's right. Testing is happening, and today we're really going to focus in on our Mavilies. We introduced this concept a number of times, but we get to have some special guests with us today. So our first guest is the Director of Student Life, Shanae Mundee. Shanae has been with us now for a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, right in between there.
So we're glad to have Shanae with us today. So Shanae, why don't you tell our parents, students, friends at home a little bit about yourself, how you found CMU, et cetera.
Yeah, so I am originally from Salt Lake City, and my entire professional career has been on a college campus. And so basically since I was 18 years old, I've lived, studied, or worked on a college campus. It's my favorite place to be. I think I get to live in Neverland where I don't have to grow up. So that's kind of fun. But kind of my journey to CMU, I was at a previous institution in Colorado, and then my husband ended up getting a job out here, and he loved it. And so I followed him out, and we're just all in on the Mavs, and we've loved our time here. Getting to be the Director of Student Life has been just so much fun. I think I have the best job on campus. My job's to make sure the students have fun, which usually means I have fun. So there's some selfish portions there that I enjoy.
That's awesome.
But getting to interact with students, sometimes I forget I'm quite a bit older than them. So it just kind of get to still have fun, and still I had a wonderful college experience when I was in school, and trying to help others continue their college experience has been really fun and, challenging in this last year to try to have a college experience. It's not traditional right now, but trying to have a college experience and have it be fun, because college is a lot more than just in the classroom. And so being able to expand upon that is really fulfilling for me personally.
And really what you do so well is campus engagement, and you can tell when you talk about it because your eyes light up and you know that that's something that you're really passionate about. We know campus engagement looked a little bit different this fall. As we look towards the spring, we've looked towards optimization and really being able to kind of turn the corner on what we're able to do with campus engagement. What does that look like for you, and what do you get excited about for the spring?
Yeah, we have a lot going on. It's a really exciting time. I think we had big plans for this year anyway, and then with COVID, President Foster tasked us, we're asking our students to stay on campus and not travel on the weekends, especially last semester. We don't want them going to big off-campus parties or to the bar. And so we're trying to challenge them to stay on campus, but we don't want them to just be in their res halls. We want them to be outside and having fun and interacting and having that college experience like I talked about. So we've had a few things where we get to expand and grow in our department, which is hopefully really benefiting our students. Last semester, we had an event every single day, and that was crazy, and we survived. And this semester, it's a little bit of a difference. So Student Life will host events Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, because we know those are big nights that people want to go out and have fun, and we want to provide them fun activities. But we'll also have smaller events during the week. Our outdoor program is actually hosting daily outings and then weekend trips. So there's still something to do every single day. And there's just a lot going on. Obviously being very mindful of social distancing and mask wearing, and just being able to provide these activities, but also provide them safely so that our students can have a lot of fun. And like I said, there's more to college than just the academics. That's an important part. Definitely not trying to overlook that, but we need to have some fun too.
Yeah, I think about all the changes and as Amy was saying, the adaptations you've made for Student Life. You've been a critical part of our original Safe Together, Strong Together planning initiative, and of course then now coming into spring, right, with our future is now optimization, all the work that you all did there. Talk to us a little bit about, fall was pretty wild. Heading into spring, now we've spent a lot of time chatting about some of the things that we've learned and so forth. Tell us a little bit about your portion of Futures Now and kind of where you see your planning and emphasis heading into the spring here.
Yeah, so like I said, it's really getting students out of their res halls, out of their apartments, wherever they live, on or off campus, and engaging. Kind of a personal experience, my niece is a freshman at another university in another state, and she, basically their campus, their student life is shut down, and so she is not welcome to go out and do anything. And also, to add on top of it, her roommate moved out, and so she's all alone in her res hall, and she's really struggling. And then I think it makes it worse because she sees all the fun we're having. But I know her mental health is a struggle, and she is not the only one on her campus nor on our campus. I know it's a big struggle. So part of the future is moving into how can we expand on those events, and also expand the groups. It's not just your roommates, or we had the Mavilies last semester of varsity athletic teams and also the res halls. So we have started to expand these Mavilies into other roommates off campus, study groups, different cohorts, and things like that.
We're throwing around the word Mavily, and I know we've defined that for some, but if you're new or just tuning in or new here to CMU for the semester, I think it probably is worth it. John, I don't know if you want to just take a little time to talk about the Mavily, why we define that, and why it's important to our student life and our engagement on campus.
Yeah, we've, many years back, whenever it was, we had a student that sort of coined this phrase, but it's this idea of maverick family, and we put those together. And of course, as COVID hit, we knew that these family units were going to be vital, right? And so we really took that concept and have really tried to put it on steroids for this coming term. And so part of what we're working really closely with you all as a campus really is this idea of trying to get these family units, right? These small cohorts of folks, and that might be your Greek life, it might be your residence hall floor, it might be your lacrosse team, whatever the case might be, and keeping our students with their people, so that as we're testing, as we're working, we want to make sure that our students have their people. They've got friends, they've got really great relationships. We're just trying to keep those circles small, right? And try and maintain the integrity of those Mavilies by doing a lot of testing and really trying to stay centered around that concept.
Yeah, I think that's great. And when we think about what we know now about the virus and what we know about being able to mitigate and put in some of those safety strategies that we know are important, one of those is making sure that we know who our people are, and then also being able to have that thoughtful conversation, just like we do with our families at home, about the behaviors that we do outside of our family that potentially put others at risk for being able to get the virus. So I think that is part of the concept too, is really continuing to take ownership for, we can have fun, we can do this together. Let's also be mindful about those
this
activities.
level of trust, right?
Absolutely.
I know what you're doing, you know what I'm doing. We're going to come up with a plan in terms of we're going to be testing regularly. And I recognize that if I go to a party, I've basically exposed my whole Mavily. And so it really creates that ownership, hopefully, of students saying we're gonna stick with our people for a few more months.
That's right.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel here, but I appreciate you drawing that out.
Yeah. I think there's the accountability piece, but there's also the fun piece. So what's the other side of signing up as a Mavily? What does that look like? How can they do that? And what is that process?
Yeah, absolutely. So this idea kind of came about, last semester, like I said, we really wanted people to, for lack of a better term, kind of hunker down and stay within their roommates or whatever that may be. And I think we learned, there was people that struggled with mental health with that. And also they also maybe broke the rules and exposed others and kind of led to some cases. But so what we're doing now is we're giving, like I said, some of that responsibility back to the students and saying, okay, we want you guys to go either have fun, go study, go do something, but meet us halfway and keep it within that group, whether it's 8 people or 15 people or whatever it is, but keep it within that group and, help each other, keep each other accountable, and, help each other remind about testing and, is someone hanging out in another group that's not part of a Mavily or not following rules, and putting some of that accountability back on them. But also, like we've said, go have fun, responsibly and safely still, as always. But giving some of those experiences back. We have some students here that are going to talk, and they're going to speak about some of the doors this has opened for them and share some of their stories.
Well, we're excited to have Alyssa and Ashley join us here in a few minutes. Before we do that, can we talk for a quick second about brass tacks? If I want to become a Mavily, how do I do that? And what do I get if I choose to sign up as a Mavily?
So signing up for a Mavily is pretty easy. If you could just go to the Student Life page on CMU's website, it's the first button right at the top of that page. It will take you to a link on Presence, which I can talk about in a minute, but that's our student engagement software. And it's just a really quick application. Just some things to know about information to have before you register is you obviously need everyone's name and 700 numbers, also phone numbers and their local address. And so we do need all that information to formally register them as a Mavily. And just they can go on there. And a thing to note is it's important, they can have CMU students and also non-CMU students. It can be on campus, off campus. So there's spots there for CMU students and non-CMU students. And the application's fairly easy to get through. If there's any questions, anyone can always email studentlife@coloradomesa.edu. And then what happens after that is we will review it, make sure obviously the parameters are being followed. Students can be a part of up to 2 Mavilies, and each Mavily can be up to 20 people. So a fairly good sized group, again, putting some of that responsibility back on the students. And we'll review that and approve it, and they will get an email. Everyone on the Mavily will get an email saying you've been approved. These are some of the terms and conditions you're agreeing to, such as testing that we've mentioned. We ask for essentially 10% of the Mavily to be tested every week, and abide by that. It also it gets them. We have goodie bags for them while supplies last. That. Just as a thank you for registering, they can come up to Student Life and get those. We're just located on the 2nd floor of the University Center. We'd love to meet everyone as well as giving you a goodie bag. But we're also offering COVID-19 vaccine priority and some different things like that. And just the ability to have some fun. The other thing we're doing is a social media contest, Mavily Mundee. Alyssa will touch on it as well, but where people can show us what they're doing in their Mavilies and maybe share ideas with their other students of why they should be in a Mavily and things like that.
So they go to the Student Life website. They can sign up through the Presence software. They can do that throughout the semester?
Yeah, so we're not necessarily going to end it or close it off at any point.
Okay.
We expect hopefully to get a lot right at the beginning.
Great.
But if someone decides in mid-March that they want to form a Mavily, that's just fine.
Great.
And so they can go onto there, and if they ever want to add or delete, they can just email us at Student Life and we can review that request and add or delete. Whether, it's a study group and someone drops that class, or maybe someone's not following the rules and you want to hold them accountable, you can request that with us. Obviously, we want to make sure everyone's being fair, and we'll probably talk to them. But we want to keep that open for everyone.
And you also pointed out, pretty critical, but I want to make sure everybody caught this, Mavilies are going to get priority when vaccination starts happening.
Yes.
Okay, that's a pretty big carrot. Shanae, we're so grateful for you coming by. Thanks for walking us through that. We're excited to welcome our guests here, but
Yes,
appreciate
absolutely. Thanks.
that. Amy, I wonder as we're kind of transitioning here, if you might give everybody a quick update on how we're doing so far. We're a week into testing.
We are.
Getting into baseline. How are we doing?
Absolutely. I was actually just getting an update from our testing team out there. Over 5,000 tests last week.
That's
And
amazing.
it's amazing when I really think about the team and what they've done and just what Emma Lienerman and her squad have pulled together.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And just to give them a little shout out,
Yeah.
they did win an award last week. So there's multiple COVID testing sites
Yeah.
around Colorado now, and they were honored as one of the best testing sites last week with their throughput and just their ability to get a lot of people through in a short amount of time. And so if you are out there, you go through the testing site, make sure you give them a high five, give them an elbow, make sure that they know that you appreciate them, because it's been cold and they have really made that operation
I can't say
amazing.
I'm surprised. They are a remarkable group and have
Yep.
done really amazing stuff.
They have. And now we're doing our first pivot in testing, right? We were, baseline is almost completed at this point, and now we're pivoting to starting to look at something that we learned last semester and that we've implemented this year is we know those sort of higher risk folks that are living in closer proximity here on campus who are in those Mavilies already, and we're testing them right away. We know when we come back together, we're creating these new family units. This is the time that we want to make sure that we are keeping a really close eye on what's happening with COVID on campus. So we've started that very strategic testing on campus this week. So if you have gotten a random test, that is why. There may be some of you that are random and some of you that are part of a Mavily that we're making sure that we're going to keep a pulse on that as we head into the semester.
So maybe just a quick reminder to all of you at home, those of you that are watching, if you get that text and that notification that you need to come test, you need to do that.
That's right.
The only way this whole process works is if you are being compliant with that testing regime. And so we are going to gently but firmly insist that when you get that notice, you need to go ahead and schedule your appointment and get in for a test, even if maybe you just tested a couple weeks ago.
That's right.
If you get that notice, you need to get back in and get that test scheduled. So we appreciate your cooperation and your help. Wendy, thanks for your question about the Mavilies. Hopefully we answered that with Shanae. But maybe a good point to transition back and welcome our first
Absolutely.
student. Alyssa, you're with us. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We understand that all of your throngs of supporters have tuned in today, and we're excited. You're the star of the show.
Yes, yes.
Tell us about yourself. What are you studying? Where are you from? Yeah, tell us more about you.
My name's Alyssa Winter. I am from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I'm studying business marketing here at CMU. I heard about CMU through the grapevine. I love Colorado, and I just wanted to get back as soon as possible, and so just applied, got in, and moved right after I graduated high school. I went to high school in Texas because
okay.
part of a military family, so getting back here was part of what I wanted. So now that I'm back, I'm happy to be here.
And what year are you in school?
I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore. Awesome. And what's your sense of how the year has gone? I mean, maybe you have friends at other universities. What's your sense?
I love CMU. I tell everyone that they should come here, and they are starting to listen to me because their universities are shutting down. And probably all my classmates in high school that are going to Texas universities are all online. And so they see my Instagram stories, they see my posts, and they're just like, why didn't I choose a different university? Like, why didn't I go where you went? Because your university is doing more to help students get out and be in class and just creating more opportunities for us. And so I think the year last semester obviously was new for everyone. A lot of it went online, and even when it went online, even CMU did a great job to try and get us even back in the spring and working to get us in class. So a lot of my classes, I think all my classes are in person this semester. So
that's great.
it's very exciting for me to know my professors and get to know all my classmates like that.
That's awesome.
We're so glad that you're here and
Yeah.
engaged on campus, and So tell us a little bit about what your Mavily looks like. Who is in your Mavily? What does that look like? Give us a little understanding of what that looks like.
Okay, my Mavily, there's 7 or 8 people in it right now, and a lot of us have the same major, and so, or same business, I'm business marketing, so concentration of business, so we're all in like the same economics classes together, same information systems together, and so to be able to meet with them in the library or like just off campus, like at a Starbucks somewhere without our masks on, is really helpful to be able to engage with them. Yeah, and they're just close friends, and a lot of us, none of us live in the same halls, and so to be able to go to the library is really helpful and be with them.
Got it. So you've done it around, sounds like your major then. That's
Yeah,
great.
because my study group is mostly my friends, and so it's, you could do two Mavilies, so one is your friend group and one is your study group, but mine's a combined effort between us, so I'm only in one, and then I will be signing up for Greek Life one, so I'll be able to
I
meet
see.
with my Greek Life and be able to have meetings with them without masks on, so that'll be my 2, so it's kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone with my friends in school and then Greek Life. So.
Can you talk to me a little, Alyssa, how the conversation that you had with your friends and your study mates, et cetera, chatting about this, does everybody kind of get the deal, or have you guys had some conversations about this?
Yeah, a lot of us talk about it all the time, and how we're just excited to be able to meet together. And I think a few of were confused because it doesn't override Res Life regulations, so I'm still not allowed to go into rate building, and I live in Walnut apartments, so I wouldn't be able to meet that way. And so communicating that to them was important because I think that's
Sure.
a big misconception with the whole Mavily thing. And so getting that word out, word of mouth, and through me that have already come registered to be in a Mavily is,
Sure.
I think, very important because I think that's a miscommunication right now. So the more people that understand that, the better, I think.
Maybe important to chat about why we've had to do that with wastewater testing, huh?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, that's a great
I mean,
point to bring up.
we've, Alyssa, we've had that question before, and I think one of the things that we found last semester in working with our team here was that the wastewater monitoring was one of the best early alarms we had in terms of preventing outbreaks. But of course, that only works if we know who's in that residence hall and not a lot of crossover. And so one of the things that unfortunately has really helped us stay safe has been limiting visitors in those residence halls, which I am, I'm not thrilled about that because I really would love for you guys to be able to hang with each other. But the truth is that was one of the most effective tools we had at preventing outbreaks in the fall. And so it's one of the reasons why we've had to hold that line with Mavilies not visiting each other in different halls.
That
So,
makes sense.
And I
yeah.
think that's such the beautiful piece, right, of the optimization of being able to sign up different Mavilies now so that you can go meet other places with those people that you would want to be regularly hanging out with. And I love that you've structured that for you around academics. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how is that helpful? We think about learning in the classroom, but so much of learning also happens outside of the classroom. And now that you are able to engage in some of those meaningful academic conversations now in the library and other places, tell us about what you look forward to in that this semester that's a change.
I look forward to not only meeting with my people, so a lot of things have gone hybrid. So I have a class Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but now I only go Wednesdays. And one of my people in my Mavily, who's also the same major as me, has class on Monday because her last name starts with K and mine starts with W. And so I go on Wednesdays, she goes on Mondays. And so to be able to communicate from, what did you do on Monday's class? Like, because you can't fit 14 weeks of information by only going one day at class. So her going on Monday and me going on Wednesday, we were able to communicate information through us and not have to email the professor and be like, what did I miss on Monday? Or is there something I'm not getting or whatnot? So having her getting information and me getting information, be able to meet on Fridays, because that's technically online for hybrid, that has been super helpful. So I'm kind of glad that her last name's at the beginning of the alphabet and mine's at the end, because that helped a lot last semester too. So I could be able to meet with her, and that was probably the biggest thing, is being able to see her.
That's great.
And there's another one that is like that too, but that's the biggest example I can think of that it's very important for me.
That's great, Alyssa. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
We're getting a few questions from our viewers here, and we'll jump into a few of those, and you may get a few too, Alyssa, so stay on your toes. Sounds like Bethany's got a concern with a class that's maybe has some students sitting too close, Bethany, will you send us an email at safety@coloradomesa.edu? Let us know which course, let us know which classroom we're talking about so that we can close the loop and ensure that the protocols are being followed. I think we appreciate you raising that. That's part of the reason for these conversations.
Absolutely.
Is to make sure we're all staying on the same page. So thank you for raising that, and let us know where that's happening. Give us the particulars. Send that to safety@coloradomesa.edu.
That's right.
So that we can follow up.
Yep.
Looks like there's another question here, Dr. Bronson, about mask wearing. What's our policy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've talked a lot about Mavilies and how there's some exceptions to some of those rules, but the rules here on campus are everyone's wearing masks when we're indoors. That's professors, that's students, that's everyone that's in the classrooms, in the buildings. The difference is if you're at your office, and no one else is in your office, in your private office, a mask can come off. Or if you are within your Mavily in your residence hall and you're not in the hallways, those are places that masks can come off. But other than that, here on campus, if we are indoors, we're in a classroom, we're wearing our masks.
And even if I have been a positive, even if I have been vaccinated at this point, rules are the same, is that right?
Rules are the same. The CDC has really come down and said we're going to continue to wear masks. We know that the social distancing and the mask wearing at this point, and what we know with the science, is worth it. So please continue to wear your masks, and that is a continual piece here on campus.
And I know we've had really great compliance this year with mask wearing. It's been few and far between that we've had folks who just are not being compliant, but it does happen from time to time. And so if that is happening, if you're around that, reach out to us, safety@Colorado-Mesa. Let us know what's going on so we can engage with that individual and just remind them of the protocols and come to an understanding with them. Okay. Alyssa, we are so grateful for you coming on. We know your compatriot and classmate is here. So I want to pause, say thank you for the work you're doing. Thanks for your leadership and spending time with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Enjoy your Mavily, enjoy your semester.
Yes, I
Absolutely.
will. Thank you so
Good
much.
luck. So we're now going to bring on Ashley. Ashley is another one of our great students that we're grateful to have. Again, if you have questions, please post them in the chat. We'll try and tackle those as we work through our conversation. So, Ashley, thank you so much for coming. Tell us about you. Tell us about what you're studying, where you're from, etc.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah.
I'm Ashley Lopez. I come from a little tiny town, Alamosa, Colorado. It's basically New Mexico.
Ashley, Alamosa is hundreds of miles closer to us than New Mexico, isn't it?
No, not really.
Yes.
We're actually, I think, about 30 miles from New Mexico, so we're right there on the border.
Okay, you're closer than I thought.
We're still
Right.
claiming you.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay,
Know your
thank you.
grandchildren
Appreciate it.
now.
But yeah, so I'm a junior here on campus. I'm studying exercise science.
Oh, good.
And then I really fell in love with Grand Junction when I came to visit. And I really appreciate just all the health sciences that are here too, because I'm wanting to work towards my career in sports medicine.
Oh, very cool. So you've gotten acquainted with your faculty and kind of have a track now.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, for sure.
That's great. And where particularly in health sciences are you hoping to take your career?
Specifically athletic training, and then I
Oh.
would like to eventually go on to be a sports medicine physician assistant. That's kind of the plan right now to go on.
Well, we know
It's
something
awesome.
about
You're
that.
in the right place.
Yeah, well, thank you.
That's awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about your experience with Mavilies so far, and kind of what you've been up to, and what your experience has been.
Okay. So far there's 5 of us in our Mavily. We actually all have different majors at this point, so that's
Oh.
been different because I know we're all in and out all the time. But yeah, so it's me and my 2 other roommates, and then there's 2 of us that have friends that we've included as well, because some of our majors kind of relate. Like my roommate Hannah, she is in nursing, so there's often times where our classes coincide with each other,
Yeah.
and so we will study together. But yeah, so far it's been nice. It's just nice to know that the 5 of us can go to the library and study together if we need to, or even like last night, for example, me and my 2 other roommates, we went and got frozen yogurt here at the Sugar and Ice place.
Yeah.
And it was just nice to be able to go and do that and together. And then we did invite our friends as well, and they showed up later. But yeah, it's nice to know, to feel like we're not really breaking the rules, essentially. You know? It's
Because
nice.
you've got an agreement now with your Mavily about how you guys are going to kind of stay together, and
Right.
is that right?
Yes.
That's great.
I think it would be so interesting for us to hear, we get to hear about the fun things you get to do as a Mavily now that you have formally sort of identified who's going to be in your crew. What were the conversations like, and how does it feel to now know that you hold a little responsibility in ensuring that you follow through with the testing, and how have those conversations gone for your group of friends?
Yeah, for our Mavily, it's gone pretty good. We all know like the rules and stuff like that. But yeah, it's good because we all kind of like know like who's gonna go get tested when, and then we're responsible together because we want to take care of each other, so each of us
Yeah.
can continue going to class and not have to worry about quarantining or anything like that, or potentially exposing any of the other campus community members.
Yeah.
And do you live on campus or off campus?
I live on campus.
You live on campus, got
Yes.
it. So you've got your residence hall Mavily, and then you have formed a second Mavily with
Right.
some of this other friend group. We got a question from Kim at home, and specifically addressing that question, and can you be part of more than one Mavily at once? And I think we've established you can be part of up to 2 Mavilies, right?
Right.
So you've got your residence hall Mavily, and then you've got this additional group that you all have formed.
Correct.
That's great.
So Shanae gave us a little bit of a teaser about Mavily Mundee, but what is that?
Yeah.
Mavily Mundee. Good question. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I definitely, is it more of a social media?
I think that's what
That's exactly
Shanae
right.
was doing.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Right.
Yep.
All right, we'll have Shanae walk us through that a little bit more. We can learn more about that together.
Okay.
That's perfect. And then I guess maybe as you're thinking about the group that you've put together, how are you guys communicating and sort of organizing, who's testing and when to kind of stay safe and stay in touch with each other?
Yeah, so I know so far we've kind of just talked about just more of a rotation, but
Oh,
like
yeah,
me
sure.
and my roommate Hannah, we work in the sports medicine facility with the varsity athletics, so we're kind of being tested on the weekly
Sure.
as well for that. So we're being tested, and then like we'll just make sure that they're getting tested in
So
between.
you're helping all your Mavily out because
Right.
you're already part of that weekly.
Yeah.
That's great. So you know the routine well by this point.
Yep, I sure do.
That's great. Well, what advice do you have for, if there's some parents out there or other students who are watching this right now, what advice would you have for them? Was it difficult to put this together? Did it take you very long? Was it fairly, simple? How did that go?
Right. It was very simple. Like yesterday, we set up our Mavily actually just yesterday. So
Oh,
it was just
wow.
a matter of we formed a group chat with the people that we wanted to be in it, and they were like, yes, put us in. We just a quick communication like
Yeah.
that. And like Shanae had mentioned, we just had to get phone numbers, 700 numbers, but it wasn't too hard at all to put them together.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, and then we had those conversations just discussing kind of like what the Mavily is and just how we can protect each other.
Yeah. That's
That's
great.
great. Well, we appreciate your leadership, your willingness to come on today and talk a little bit about what that Mavily is going to look like for you. And I think of some of the questions I'm seeing come in are just some logistical pieces around what does it look like for a Mavily? Can we go together and not be masked? And I think kind of a reminder of why these were formed in the first place. When we think about when we're with our families at home, we're
Yeah.
not wearing masks. We're kind of engaging in normal life, and really that's our hope of what these Mavilies can look like for these groups of students on campus to really more deeply engage in those relationships and treat it like a family.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Ashley, our hope for you is you have this semester that you continue to have as close to a normal semester as we can get, right? That's we know from the get-go that's been our goal, is to make sure you've got as many classes face-to-face, that you're getting to hang out with your friends, that you're experiencing some of that joy in real life that we want college to be about. But we know we've also got to put some safety parameters around that, and so these Mavily concepts really was our attempt to try and create those internal families and try and help us to stay safe, because the reality is we know that there's going to be infections from time to time. Our task is how do we keep those small and cloistered, and if you have something like that, it's part of the reason for the ongoing testing, right? To make sure we're taking care of our people. So we appreciate that. Tell me one thing before we finish our conversation with you. What are you most looking forward to this semester?
I'm looking forward to the athletics
Yeah?
that are going to be happening this semester. Yeah, I really enjoy my on-campus job here with the sports
awesome.
medicine clinic, so I'm looking
Tell
forward
me which
to that.
sports you help.
Primarily, I've been with football.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we kind of just deal with most of the sports teams pretty
Yeah.
much. It really depends on the day. But yeah.
And we're going to be doing, I gather, most of our sports here in the spring, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be a busy spring.
It's going to be a busy spring. A lot of the fall sports that had to transition over to spring. So there'll be some very full gyms and very full training rooms and
Right.
all those things, right? A lot of work. So Ashley, thanks so much for taking time. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for bringing all of your thousands of followers
All right.
onto Facebook Live with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. So, Dr. Bronson, vaccines. Everybody's curious about it. Maybe we
absolutely.
could pause for a quick moment and give an update. How's that going? Have we figured out how to be outside of this problem that the whole country is dealing
Yeah,
with
exactly.
or not?
Yeah, the hurry up, build the infrastructure, and then we wait.
Yeah.
And we haven't found ourselves in really a different place other than we are ready. And so when we get sort of the ability to be able to have a lot more vaccines available here in Mesa County, we are ready to help get those into arms. And we already have a fleet of students, faculty, staff that are already out helping out at community hospital and that piece, as well as here at our convention center. So we're really just looking to continue to partner with Mesa County Public Health, Community Hospital, as we kind of get to these next through pieces of when can we get more vaccines and when can we help start getting those in arms.
So you shared with me yesterday, but I think it would be great to give the folks online here an update. How many of our health sciences students, PA students, and nursing students are helping as vaccinators heading
Yes.
into this season?
Yeah, we have a fleet of over 62 volunteers who have signed up and said yes. Either they're actively working or ready to sort of be put into action when we need them. We
That's
also
amazing.
have folks that are still out at our testing site every single day. We have amazing nursing students out there who can easily and quickly transition to also being vaccinators. So we're ready.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, we continue to be patient like most of the country, but as you said, we will be ready. We've got our lists ready to go, and as soon as those doses come in, we'll start actively working on that. And a reminder, if your student wants to be priority, that'll be phase 2, so that'll be later this spring. They can earn priority status for vaccinations by joining a Mavily. We're going to elevate those students and recognize their contribution to our campus safety by putting them toward the front of the line. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I think it's also important, we talked about Mavilies can include folks from outside campus as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to really come back around to that. We talked a little bit about our testing strategy for the spring, but it really is important. The more that you can identify who's in your Mavily, whether they're here on campus or they're off campus, they can be invited into the fold, be a part of testing here on campus, and also, more importantly, I think also highlighting the importance of contact tracing.
Yeah.
We really found in the fall that our quick ability to follow up with those folks very quickly, figure out who other close contacts are and get them tested, it's all about safety, and it's all about ensuring that we keep the spread of any virus here on campus to a minimum, and so that's huge.
If you go back one or two of our episodes, you can see a much more expansive conversation around the Sabetti model and this idea of protecting our perimeter by bringing into the fold those family members and those colleagues and those roommates who maybe aren't part of CMU, but they're close to our campus community members. And so that's really this idea of where we're heading this spring. We want to continue to build out Mavilies and get as many people in to the CMU community a fold as possible. So they're part of that testing and contact tracing regime, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep. As we continue to unfold sort of the new things that are happening here in spring for the campus, we would love to hear from you. What topics are going to be helpful that our incredible stream team here can help us bring to you? We really want this to be something that when we come here weekly, we're able to share not only what's happening here on campus, but ensure that we're giving you valuable input and updates from our campus community.
Yeah, and we found this to be a pretty good format, and I know for those of you that have joined us regularly, we've so appreciated your comments and your feedback and your commitment to joining us for a few minutes each week to help us get better. I just think about the comments earlier today about this classroom or that mask, and we appreciate that. That's how we get better, is by really having this open dialogue and this open communication. So I think you can anticipate us continuing to chat with folks about that. And I think we'll also introduce some additional topics beyond, believe it or not, COVID.
Woohoo!
Imagine a day
There's a
when
little excitement about that.
we talk about something other than this silly coronavirus. But we appreciate that. So please do chime in. Let us know what other things we can be as a university. Plus, we'll bring some other guests on and give Dr. Bronson and I a break from this outstanding format. So.
That's right. And I think, as I look towards the spring, we introduced a little bit of a culture piece last week of the music video. And I want to remind folks, the scholarship is still out there. It's still open.
Another week, right?
Another week.
Another week.
So
You can
go
earn a
share this
$1,000
video.
scholarship. Share the report. Share the video. Help us both communicate the substance of what we're doing, as well as some of the joy and fun that we're bringing back to campus. So
That's right.
appreciate that.
Absolutely. I also want to just ensure that we also say to all of our viewers, if you have a personal question, there's something specific, we know as we head into this semester, there's more specific questions that may be really pertinent to your student, it may have medical health information, please reach out to us directly at safety@coloradomesa.edu. We do want to hear from you. We're here and we're happy to help. This is probably not the best format for us to answer those questions, but we certainly want to ensure that we do get to all those personal related questions as well. So if there's something specific, please reach out to us.
Yeah, protect that privacy and make sure we get your answers to your questions. So very much appreciate that. Okay, well, Dr. Bronson, we'll leave maybe on that note, but really appreciate everybody tuning in today. Again, if you haven't had a chance, go read the Daily Sentinel. Send President Foster a quick note, his note to campus, as we all take a little time and reflect and thank him for 17 years of service, which is pretty hard to believe.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.